No, go for it, Woody. What do you got?
It's timing, man. Their time is not the charm.
I know how it is.
On jokes like this.
It's all about timing. You know how uncomfortable it was when Arian's like, "No, man, get out your joke," and it's like,
that was the greatest. That was
I can't do it now. The line was really good when I would have said it.
That was probably better than whatever the joke was. Arian's like, no, go ahead.
There was this perfect setup, and Taylor had this punchline, but then there was like a break in the conversation, and then like me and Aaron were like, "Oh no. Tell your joke." And he's like, the time has passed. Oh no, you have the floor.
That's man, I hated that.
Oh, did you? But you knew what was happening. You can see it was just
no. I'm joking. I didn't actually hate it. It was funny.
I thought it was,
but it is
funny.
Like a total thing where it's like, no, tell your joke, and it's like. And Steve would get better than anyone where it's like, no, the time has passed. If I tell the joke right now, it'll bomb and I'll get roasted even more. Timing is
one of the tricks of stand-up is if you get interrupted, you cannot go back into the joke. Like you have to find a way to organically get there. If you want to go back into the line, you have to like say something else that isn't a punchline or whatever, and then you can weave your way back in. But for the most part, you just move the fuck on. And all the time, I see comics like try to go back in as if it's perfectly normal, and they just eat shit. It's like that's the rule. Yeah. You cannot go back into a joke when it gets interrupted, unless you do a joke about the fact that you're going back in,
right?
And then like they're with you.
I hadn't thought of that, but I bet that's the sort of like that's not intuitive. I would argue, and that the comedians probably often learn that the hard way. Like, fuck, I've tried this 4 times.
I'm sure because there's got to be someone out there who's just like, the thing about cats. Somebody else like, cats are gay. And you're like, anyway, the thing about cats is like that probably wouldn't work. Like trying to jump back in after some dick.
It's even worse if like just be like, yeah. So the thing about be like, my mom has a cat, and the guy's like, cats are gay. And you're like, hey man, stop interrupting me. And then it goes back and forth, and then club security takes him and pulls him out, and then you just be like, so my mom got a cat. Like that's. That's how ridiculous it is sometimes. And like what he said is, you have to learn it by making that mistake. But some people do not learn it. Some people just continue to make that mistake. And like it should happen to you once. And then you go, oh, I wonder why they didn't laugh after I went back in. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, or even 2 or 3 times. But there are people who I've seen them. They don't get the idea that like you cannot go back.
That is a hard thing, especially on a show like this. I can think of so many times where I would do Hispanic cleaning lady voice, and then it would break up in the middle, and like my impression is done, and then I'll hear like what was that last bit, and then I'll go back in, and it's like, oh no, I've ruined it. It's no longer